On today's episode of Chicago Bears Now, it's mailbag time. I am your host, Harrison Graham. Thanks to everybody for submitting their questions for today's video. Let's start with Jackson Rosenthal. He's got a bold prediction that Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn, and Akeem Hicks will combine for 35-plus sacks. Do you think that is unrealistic, or do you think it's possible? About 12 sacks per player. Mack gets 14, Quinn gets 11, Hicks gets 10-plus. I think it's possible. Do you think it is? It's possible if you look at their career highs, because Khalil Mack with the Raiders back in 2015 had 15 sacks. Robert Quinn had a 19-sack season in 2013, and Akeem Hicks' career high is 8.5 with the Bears back in 2017. That's 42.5 sacks. So is it possible? Certainly. Is it likely? Probably not. Khalil Mack's career best is 5 years ago. Robert Quinn's is 7 years ago. And Quinn's is a bit of an outlier because the second highest total of his career was this past season with the Dallas Cowboys at 11.5. So you're not going to get 17 or 18 from Quinn, but 35 could be possible, because even on a down year between these two guys, you got 20 combined last year. Quinn had 11.5 with Dallas. Khalil Mack had 8.5 with the Bears. I certainly expect that number to go up by at least 2, 3, or 4 sacks. We'll see if Quinn can hit double digits again. I think the wild card in this will be Akeem Hicks. He's north of 30 now, only played in 5 games last year, had just the 1 sack, dealt with injuries, didn't play that well when he was on the field in 2019. So we'll need a bit of a resurgence from Akeem Hicks if the Bears are going to get 35-plus sacks from these 3 guys. Now, I don't think Hicks will lead the team in sacks, but it'll come down to one of these 2 guys. Type M if you think Khalil Mack will have the most sacks for the Bears, or type Q if you think Robert Quinn will have more sacks. Who's going to lead the Bears in 2020? Go ahead and cast your votes down in the comments section. Guys, Father's Day is just around the corner, and you can give them a Stronger Together t-shirt or hoodie for 20% off. And guys, the best part about this deal is all the proceeds go to the COVID-19 relief fund. So you go to chatsports.com/Chicago Strong and get these t-shirts for just over $15 right now. These hoodies are 20% off right now as well. I'll put the link in the comments. I'll put it in the description. It's chatsports.com/Chicago Strong. These shirts are a good look. They're high quality as well. It goes to a good cause. And hey, it's an easy Father's Day present. This Sunday, it's Father's Day. So go ahead and get yourself one of these shirts or hoodies today. Next up here is Isaiah Suarez using #Bears. What other linemen are still free agents, and who should they sign? What offensive linemen they should sign, Isaiah asks. Well, there's still some quality offensive linemen that are out there. Well, I'll look at 3 players at guard, 3 players at tackle, starting with guards here. Larry Warford still is the name to keep an eye on. Over 100 starts. He's been a 3-time Pro Bowler. He's sitting out there. Josh Klein, Ronald Leary aren't quite as good, but they're quality veteran players who have played on winning teams for a long, long time. At the tackle position, look, obviously Jason Peters. I don't think it's super likely the Bears get in the mix. I think he wants to go back to Philadelphia, or he wants to play for a team that's at a high-level contender. The Bears might be able to do that, but there's a little bit of uncertainty, so I don't think Peters will do that. Kelvin Beacham's an option, almost 100 starts there. Greg Robinson. There's guys out there that can help this Bears offensive line. It's just a matter or it's whether or not the Bears want to go after one of these guys. I hope, and I would still like to see them go after Larry Warford. He's not an all-pro by any means. Yeah, on a couple of those Pro Bowls, he was a replacement guy, but he's still really, really good, and the Bears have a major need at right guard. He's the best guard out there. He claims to want around $7 million per year. Could you get him at $6 million potentially? I think it's possible this late in the free agency process. We'll see what ends up happening. All I know is that the Bears offensive line needs some help in a major way, and I think Larry Warford could be the guy to help the Bears out up front. All right, guys, I'm not going to lie. We haven't been getting as many subscribers on recent videos over the past couple of weeks. Sure, there's not as much news out there, so I can understand it a little bit, but we're racing to 10,000 subscribers, and we're still almost 700 away. I'm getting static in my ear. The bosses have been telling me we have a major Vikings contingency here at Chat Sports. A lot of Skol fans, apparently. I don't want to talk about the Vikings. I want to keep talking about the Bears. Like, No, I don't. Kirk Cousins, no thank you. I am not into talking about the Vikings. I don't want to switch to the Vikings report. I like hosting Chicago Bears now. So please help me out, subscribe, get us 150 new subs on today's video, and let's get to 10,000 on the channel as fast as possible. And guys, as we continue to grow, we'll do more videos. Please do not make me talk about the Minnesota Vikings. Next up on our Bears Now mailbag, thank God it is the Bears. Should the Bears go all in and sign Everson Griffen, Jeffrey asks. It would be interesting, Jeffrey, I'll say that. I don't know. Like, it's not a major position of need. Here's what we do know about Griffen. He's certainly one of the top remaining free agents out there. He wants to meet with teams in person, so he might wait a while with the ongoing pandemic that's going on in the United States. I'll say this, for the right price, this would be intriguing. This would, build on what's already a position of strength, which is pass rush, considering the Bears invested in Robert Quinn. They already have Khalil Mack. He's very good. Had 8 sacks last year. 2018 had, some off-the-field issues, but he got back on track last year. A little bit older. He's not going to give you 13, 14 sacks, but 7 to 10, I think that's very much a possibility. And now I do think Griffen would be a defensive end in this Bears 3-4 scheme. He's about 275 pounds. So, look, you put him in your starting lineup over Nichols there. That's intriguing to me, with Hicks on the other side, Goldman eating up blockers in the middle, then, of course, Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn coming off the edge as well at the outside linebacker position. I like Everson Griffen a lot. I think he's one of those underappreciated players in the National Football League because he plays for the Vikings, which, again, nobody cares about. But, that's up to you guys if we continue to grow the channel here on Bears Now. But look, we'll see what happens. I don't think Griffen makes a lot of sense. He's a free agent. I think he'll sign elsewhere, but for the right price, I am certainly intrigued. Type Y for yes, type N for no if you think the Bears should sign Everson Griffen. Next up is Oompa Loompa using hashtag Bears. Do you think the Bears will get rid of Ryan Pace if they don't make the playoffs this year? Because only the Bears made the playoffs once since he was here and drafted a couple of busts. Yeah, look, it hasn't been the cleanest era since Ryan Pace took over. 2018, we all thought the Bears turned a corner. 12-4, your young quarterback in Mitchell Trubisky's playing better. Heartbreaking loss in the first round against the Eagles, but still, you're like, okay, NFC North champs, a lot to build on. Frustrating loss, but 2019, take the next step, make a deeper run. The Bears fell back, 8-8, didn't do a lot of good things, had some injuries, certainly. Matt Nagy's play calling wasn't as good. The offensive line fell apart. Lots of things did not go Chicago's way in 2019. This is kind of a do-or-die year, I think, for Ryan Pace, especially you add up the fact that he hasn't been great at drafting in the first round either. Look, Kevin White, not his fault. Lots of injuries there, but fact of the matter is you took a guy in the top 10 that basically never played. Leonard Floyd, we know the deal there. Flashed at times, but did not earn his stay here. There's a reason the Bears cut him this offseason. Trubisky, up to this point, number 2 overall, he's in that bust category. That's just the reality of the situation. I hope he turns a corner this year, but we'll see if he can even start over Nick Foles. And then Roquan Smith, good pick. I have no problems with that one. But 1 out of 4 on top 10 picks, didn't have a first last year or in 2020 because of the Khalil Mack trade, which, we're all fine with. But it hasn't been great overall for Ryan Pace. Some good, some bad. How would you grade it? C-? He's found some value picks later in the draft. Sure, the Bears were a mess when he took over, and the Bears won the division in 2018. But overall, it can't be really much higher than a C. 1 playoff appearance in 5 years, and a lot of misses on first-round draft picks. A lot of that falls on the general manager, so I'm going to give it about a C-. Papa's next up here. Which players need to go before the season starts? There's a few that come to mind there, Papa, and I might do a cut candidates video. Harrison, it'd be nice if you could talk for once. Adam Shaheen, though, is the guy I look at. I'm tired of this guy. The Bears have 27 tight ends on their roster, and this is one you got to get rid of. You could save some money by doing so. Just admit that this is a bust from 2017 and let him go. He just has not been productive at all. It's been a disaster. So That's a guy I look at right away and say, hey, I can save a little over $1 million. If I'm looking at a guy to bring in like a Larry Warford, why not save a little extra cap money there in Shaheen and go sign him? He hasn't been good, guys. He's averaging less than 10 yards a catch, 249 yards in 3 seasons. He's got to go. He's not going to be a piece of the future. Look, you don't hit on every single draft pick. The Bears certainly are very aware of that. Just admit that it didn't work out and move on and save a little money. Do you guys want a cut candidates video? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. If we get enough ones in the comment section, maybe we'll do one for you guys. We're thinking of a different, show ideas for you guys, especially while, news is kind of slow right now. So let me know. Do you guys want a cut candidates video here on Chicago Bears? Now, want to remind you of the deal of the day. It's the Stronger Together gear. We got hoodies, we got t-shirts. All the proceeds benefit the COVID-19 relief fund. It goes to a great cause. These t-shirts just over $15 right now. The hoodies 20% off as well. I'll put that link in the comments and in the description. chatsports.com/Chicago Strong. We're all stronger together, and by the way, it makes for a pretty good Father's Day gift. So go ahead and make sure you shop today. HL Priest here using hashtag Bears long question. This one was initially in all caps. He typed so long and in such all caps, I had to change the text, but I appreciate the question here. I honestly do not think that we are going to have NFL football this year due to the pandemic. I'm very hopeful, but I don't see organizations putting their multi-million dollars investments at such huge risk. I want to know what you really think about it. Will we have an NFL season this year? What I think is, and maybe I'm misinterpreting here, but you're saying it would be a risk for these owners to play. I think it would be a risk for them not to play because there's so much money on the line if they do not play. They're already going to lose a lot of money because there's not going to be full stadiums. At best, you'll see half full stadiums this year. I'm pretty confident in saying that. Now, the good news is as of now, there's no indication that the NFL won't start on time. Now, ESPN's Ed Warder did report that he's talked to multiple head coaches who have expressed concerns with playing and with starting on time and what happens if certain scenarios pop up. So we'll see, moving forward. Again, the NFL still hasn't announced training camp dates as well. Here's one of those anonymous head coaches talking to Ed Warder. No, we don't know if it's Matt Nagy. I just put a Matt Nagy picture up there before you guys freak out saying, look, you can have all the protocols in place that you want, but eventually you have to play football. And what are you going to do if 10 guys on one team test positive? Are you going to quarantine the entire team? There's a lot of questions out there that we don't really know the answers to. What if, in week 1 of the playoffs, first playoff matchup, both the entire Bears quarterback room test positive? Does Cordero Patterson play quarterback in a playoff game? Who knows? The NFL has to figure out what they're going to do with these situations. I'm hopeful that we have a season and that we start on time. I hope you guys are too. That's it for today's show. I'm out, and we'll see you next time.